Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
My enemies' walls are bound to crumble, and to the floor their spears will fall. I've been made and sealed with love, but time to battle, I'll fight them all. I felt the whips and remember chains, but my sword has been forged by my father's flames. Fight your fears and heal your pain, and victory will be in your name. I used to be weak, but I'm not weak no more. I found the strength of my ancestors deep down in my African core. I used to be frightened, I'm not afraid no more. The Father bless me with the heart of a lion and a warrior soul. So no weapon that harm against us shall not prevail. No man that rise against us, that war they shall never win. Yes, I will conquer. I will conquer. Yes, I will conquer. Come on, let's conquer. Oh, I will conquer. Rise up and conquer. Conquer them. Tell them no retreat, no surrender. I shall fight till the end of years. I was born as a Makai warrior, and the Almighty God my prayer. Fire upon all Satan carrier. Father loose all shackles and chains. This morning first thing as I wake up, King David turns Sam to the brain. Don't let your courage go down, keep it up. And if your heart rip up and stitch it up, don't let your faith them fall, pick it up. When my cup was empty, God fill it up. Don't take the devil contract, rip it up. And if your bad mind people commit it up, pass me the Congo Jama, let me beat it up. God and my side, me no give it up. No weapon that harm against us shall not prevail. No man that rise against us, that war they shall never win. Yes, I will conquer. No, I will conquer. Yes, I will conquer. Conquer. Come on, let's conquer. No, I will conquer. Rise up and conquer. Conquer. Thank you, Father. I want to say thank you, Lord. For everything, Father. Thank you. Father, you alone shall guide me. No man shall lead my path. In the wind I hear your quiet whispers, and you heal my broken heart. Even some of my friends turn enemies, and they pray for right to feel. And remember you give us your only begotten son, but we gave him the wound of flesh. Send down your warriors with the hello. They carry down to the end of days. No matter how the devil tries to trick me, unto you my soul I will give. Father, I know this time is coming. I can see the high tide rage. Without you there is no other. Could you be that really fight? Shall not prevail. No man that rise against us, that war they shall never win. Yes, I will conquer. No, I will conquer. Yes, I will conquer. Come on, let's conquer. No, I will conquer. Rise up and conquer. I am a champion. I am a warrior. So who are you to tell me that I cannot make? Who are you to tell me that I am not the greatest thing that God ever created?
Good morning, Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. You're listening to Hard Talk Grenada. A very special good morning to those of you joining us on 97.5 City Sound FM, 89.5 CRFM, 91.9 and 91.5 Real FM Radio, 92.9 Sits Around Radio, broadcasting from Hillsborough, Carriacou, and of course 94.9 We Noise Radio out there in Brooklyn, New York. A very special good morning to those of you joining us on the live video, wherever you are. If it's on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or wherever you're joining us from, good morning to you. It's always a pleasure being here with you. It is a lovely Thursday, closer to the end of the week. I know some people are celebrating that. We seem to like weekends a lot, and it's going to be a very long weekend as well because we have Thanksgiving on a Sunday, which makes the following working day a holiday as well. So Monday is also going to be, Monday is going to be a holiday. So we have a very long weekend coming up. But good morning to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Of course, with me in studio, I have Mr. Roland Bowler, who is my co-host. Good morning, Mr. Bowler.
Good morning, Miss Duncan, and good morning to our listeners. I'm happy to be back today. I was off yesterday, and so I did not have the opportunity to speak to you yesterday. But of course, I heard part of yesterday's program. I think it was wonderful from what I heard. I think there was a wealth of information yesterday from Mr. Bihari.
And he had so much more to give in.
So seemed to be at the top of his game in terms of knowing what's happening. He's been a part of that youth program and the Imani and whatever else they do there for many, many, many years. In fact, now I think he holds the position as director of youth. Yes, so he has a lot on his shoulders.
Yes, he does.
Appears to be very knowledgeable of what he's doing. Whether what he's doing is sensible or not is something that left to be seen and to be judged, not
to be interpreted.
And to be interpreted. I am not in any position so to do. But from what I heard, and I did not hear all of the program, for a portion of the morning, I did hear some of what he was elaborating on, and that was very good. But I do hope that everyone out there, those who are listening to us, by whatever means, by whatever digits, whatever platform you're on, that you are enjoying your morning, that you had a good night's sleep, that your health is optimal, or if not there yet, that you're doing what you need to do to make sure that you bring it to that stage. A very pleasant good morning to you. And as I oftentimes say, if your neighbor isn't tuned in yet, call them out. If your friend normally would listen or you're encouraging them, give them a little shout, send them a message, let them know Hard Talk is on.
Yeah.
And you need to participate by sending us a message, be it WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube, by making a comment.
Yep.
Even if you're not in agreement with what we are talking about or the statements that we're making, you also have an opportunity so to say. Just be respectable with what you do and the way in which you do it. But we welcome every and all comments. We allow people to speak freely. Once you can
Not
back
too
what you're
freely
saying.
though, eh?
Yeah, I'm saying once you can back what you're saying and that you're not going to be accusing anybody or trying to defame people's character, because you can be held responsible by law. And maybe we, to a certain extent, can be held into questioning for such. So we allow you to express yourself. This is a free program. This is a program for you, the people. So please feel free to join us, engage us. Listen, comment, talk, make your contribution. And for those of you who would be calling a little bit later on, sometimes you have a lot to say on any subject matter, but let's try to keep it within, a limit so that others will get an opportunity.
Yeah.
So,
and in saying that, Mr. Bola, I just want to let the people know that it is Thursday, and we did promise them a day for expression. I know most times we open the lines early, and all of the people who want to contribute can't because, so many others are getting an opportunity as well. So we want to open the lines early this morning. It's only 10 minutes past the hour of 10 o'clock. And we want to open the lines early this morning so people can contribute to the conversation. Let's know what's going on in your area. Let's know the concerns that you have. Share with us your issues. Share with us whatever commendations you may have. Whatever it may be, We'd love to hear from you. We love it when you share with us, when you call and you speak about things, that can make a difference. We don't like open-ended statements here. We love solutions. We are solution driven. So we like to hear your concerns and so on, but we also like to hear solutions as well, or proposed solutions as well. So come on, let's hear from you. The number to call is 440-7377 if you're calling locally. If you're calling from the diaspora, it's 347-329-3101. Of course, you can contact us on WhatsApp as well. You can send us a message, or you can give us a call. Our WhatsApp number is also 440-7377. Those of you on the live video, you can also send us a message to let us know that you're tuned in, that you're listening. I see a few people there already letting us know that they are there and they are present. And of course, we appreciate that. And we love hearing from you. We love your loyalty and your commitment to being here every day and sharing in this experience with us. I do need to let the general public know as well that last week we announced that there would be the first sitting of this session of Parliament tomorrow. However, that has since changed to next Friday. So next Friday, there will be that sitting of Parliament. That first sitting in is it the 10th session?
Yeah,
First sitting of the 10th session next Friday. So we advise that you tune in and you listen, because oftentimes when you go on these platforms, you're seeing all kind of 80-something people viewing and all kind of thing, and then you wait until somebody goes in the news and says something, not put it in full form and give it to you, and then you're upset because you didn't listen firsthand to get a clear explanation of what it is happening within your parliament. All right? So don't say you don't know what's going on. Make an effort to find out. I want to speak briefly, Mr. Bola, about and I know we started this conversation on Tuesday, but of course, for lack of time, we weren't able to complete it. And it has to do with the initiative taken by the Honorable Delma Thomas and the Honorable Kate Lewis over the weekend last. When they went to the hospital, she said that was like an introductory, no, because we all know that she's now the Minister for Hospital Affairs.
Hospital and community health.
Community health.
Something to that.
And she has laid out a very extensive plan, what she wants to accomplish in her stint as that minister. A very commendable plan, I must say. If you look at it and you listen to it, it does address some of the ailments that we have with the healthcare sector. And of course, we must understand and appreciate that in order for us to fix a lot of the problems that we have with the healthcare system, we must identify first that we cannot expect it to be free. We have to come to that realization, Mr. Bola. We have to accept the fact that if we want these things that we are asking for, the question is not whether we deserve it or not. We deserve it. That is clear. It is how much are we willing to contribute to getting these things done. Because a lot of what happens within the healthcare services is manned and paid for, financed by government.
Yes.
Very little comes out of human contribution towards the sector. So we have to be very, very mindful of that, and we have to appreciate that we have a role to play in developing the country. It's not just, we're not just a body that elects a government and sit for them and wait for them to do it. We elect a government that we know can deliver, yes, and that's probably one of the leading reasons why the NNP has been in office 15-0 twice, because they're...
Well, 3 times, but twice in
Twice
succession.
in succession. Right, in succession. But the people know that they can deliver. And that is why they have so much faith in the fact that, well, if I go and make noise for money, I will get it. Because in 2008, when nurses and teachers and so on were not getting paid, they didn't see them on the streets saying protest, and they didn't think, because they know the administration that was there couldn't do it for them. But this administration, they know, would fight tooth and nail to ensure that they get all of the things that they need and that they deserve. So that is why in my opinion, they behave in the way that they behave. And sometimes we wonder, well, everything is a protest and everything is a jump up and everything is a noise. And when you sit and you analyze the situation, it's probably because they know that this is the only government that will get all these things from. So they're making all the noise now. So they know that in the event some body decide that they put in another administration, they don't get all they could get already.
Well, you see, that can be avoided. I mean, I understand the way you speak. I understand the rationality behind what you're saying. But for those who understand as well that this is the only administration that looks out for workers' rights, that this is the only administration that would ensure, despite the economic and situation and physical space that exists, they are going to do everything possible to ensure that workers continue to benefit with as much as they should.
Yeah.
Maybe not all, because I don't know that any administration headed by any different person can really provide all of what is needed. Because every day you look at any work situation and you look at people's spending power and you look at the cost of living, one can easily come up with the fact that people need to get more.
Yeah.
More as salary, more as perks,
Right.
more as allowances. That can always be there. And an argument for it can be made. However, though, you have said a very important thing to the end, that if someone or some people decides that they want a change of administration, now that could be averted and avoided because the very people who are benefiting now, rather than always being anti, you must say, look, even if this government is not my first choice, even if I do not fancy or I don't like the style or the faces or the way they speak or whatever of certain ministers, but for my survival, for the benefit of my children, for the fact that when this government is wrong, I see the opportunities, I get the opportunities, and I get the ability. They provide me with sufficient to enable me to do more for myself and for my children. I am going to vote for them anyway. To ensure that you keep them there so that you can continue to survive. You must do like Kem Jones. He curses NNP all the time, but he encourages people to vote for them. Because he knows when NNP is in office, he survives.
Exactly.
That is how he makes his money. He makes his money from cursing NNP and Dr. Mitchell. There are some people that are foolish enough to pay him to do that. Now, if he gets rid of NNP or if he encourages people to get rid of it, then he doesn't have a means of survival. So I'm saying other people must be as smart as he is. You don't have to like them, but you must like what the government is doing. And of course, not every single thing that this government does, everyone must agree with. Not every single thing and every decision taken, the results that derives out of it, will be one that is satisfying for all of us all the time. However, though, there is absolutely no comparison in terms of what this administration does. Every period that they are in government, and it so happens in Grenada, if you look back at the history of Grenada over the last 20 or 30 years, politically speaking, this has been the administration, and Dr. Mitchell has been the leader who on every time there is a serious crisis
to take us through it.
And he has not failed us yet. The party has not failed us yet. I mean, one has to admit that some people are looking for more. Some people expect the government to do more. Some people believe the government can do more. All of that, yes. But let's not take for granted that what this government is able and is capable of doing and delivering, not everyone can do that. In fact, we have had the examples. Even in a time when the revenue collection situation was not as bad as it is now, we had an administration in government that could not even pay salaries and pay it on time.
And
public servants never got $1 increase. And as you've said, I can't recall them hitting the street. I can't recall seeing public workers with placards. I can't recall the trade unions.
Well, as a matter of fact, the sitting president of the Senate would tell you when he hit the streets what they did to him.
Yes, yes, you're so right. That's vivid, yeah, in the minds of a lot of people. So let's not forget. So the point we're making here is, for whatever your reasons that you don't like NNP, you don't like Dr. Mitchell, or you don't like a certain minister in government, or as we say in local parlance, I can't stand him or stand she. That's all right. But for your own survival, and the fact that your best chances of progressing, your best chance for your children to get a proper education, your best chance to earn a house. Now remember, these are the same people who told the Chinese that Grenadians did not need houses. That for the next 1,000 houses which the Chinese still has to build for us here in Grenada. Because remember, when they are complete, on those 5 sites where they're building now,
they have 1,000 more.
Which is a total of, I think, 600.
And 49, I believe, is
whatever it is. There's still 1,000 more low-income houses to be built. At least another 1,000 families can look forward to at least getting an apartment or a house someplace in Grenada. Right? But there was an administration, the same people, the same NDC people who today are saying that housing is a critical issue. The same people who are today saying that the amount budgeted for housing repairs and building is wholly insufficient. The same people said to the Chinese, we don't need that extra 1,000 houses. Give us the cash. So how are we supposed to feel comfortable and confident that give you another chance in government, you're going to do well for us? I mean, come on, people, let's really think. Let's think. I've said it here before. I believe that some of these people only speak because they think they will make news on national television. But to me, they go through no thought process before they open their mouth. They don't think clearly about what they're saying. The tapes are there. I'm not telling lies. We can pull them up anytime and play them where they have asked and they have admitted that they did. Right? In plain and simple words, which is English. I don't know if they spoke to the Chinese in Chinese when they spoke to them, but from what we heard, it was English.
It was English.
And easily understood. Right? So let us be careful sometimes with the things that we want or we hope for. Because I recall in 2008, when the New National Party was voted out of government, the question was placed to a number of people. Why did you vote against? And they said, well, we just want a change. You know, they couldn't give you any serious rationale. We wanted a change. And within months, these same people started crying out, boy, they make a mistake, they're sorry. Who crying, they want to cut out their hand, they wish they could cut out their finger, they made a mistake. You know, they say once bitten, twice shy. You know, if you fool me once, they said it's shame on you. But when you fool me twice, it's shame on me. Because it means that I did not learn. Remember, I always make that comment about that author who wrote this book. Sometimes we win, sometimes we learn. To let it happen a second time to you means that we did not learn. Because failure is not fatal. We failed before. But we had an opportunity to get up and to restart. It doesn't matter how far down the wrong path you went. You can always stop and return. Remember, no success without struggle. So yes, there may be days of struggle now. There still are days that will be very hard. There are still days when we would wonder, what are we putting as a meal on the table for our children? That is part of the struggle that you go through before you arrive successfully to where you want to be. Remember, we need to have that dream. We need to set the goals, but we need to have the desire, the willpower. And we need to condition ourselves to do the things, to make the necessary contributions and to compromise on certain things in order for us to achieve what we want to achieve. I think for too long, some of us believe that all we need to do is vote for a party and then sit by and everything will come into our laps, like how manna fell from heaven during the days of the Israelites when they came out of Egypt. It wouldn't happen that way, people. It will not happen that way. And even though I will like most of you out there to be convinced and to have the conviction that with an NNP government in office, your life will be better, you can do better, our country and our economy and our people will fare better, it still is not going to be a walk in the park. We're not in dreamland. We are in a very real world with real things happening.
Yeah.
And we can do the best for ourselves. But a lot of what happens, what we achieve or don't achieve, sometimes are influenced by external forces. We did not create or invent or wanted COVID-19. It didn't start in Grenada. We didn't ask for it. But it has affected us in a very negative way.
Yeah.
There are things that we have little or no control over. But again, if you have people with the experience, with the skills, with the knowledge, but more importantly, with a willingness and a loving heart, they will go the extra mile. They will make the extra effort. They will do what is necessary to ensure that, one, we remain safe, but two, that our survival remains viable.
Absolutely.
And that is what this government is attempting to do all the time.
Yeah.
Despite all of the hardship, despite all of the difficulties, despite the fact that they're struggling to get business back up and running, they have to be very careful. They have to obey the protocols. They have to encourage people to do the correct thing. But gradually, bit by bit, block by block, day by day, hour by hour, they're building.
Yeah.
They are easing off some of the restrictions gradually. And we just need to be patient. But more importantly, beside being patient, we need to be willing to do something for ourselves.
Of course. I have a call, someone on the live here who is saying, Mr. Bowler, Dr. Mitchell, being there when there is every crisis isn't a coincidence. Had this administration not been there in these times, our country would have been in shambles. What's sad is that sometimes we as Grenadians forget easily. Do we forget or do we pretend to forget?
Well, I mean, some of us take so many things for granted. And as a caller said earlier on this week, with a level of selfishness, thinking that, I am the most important person. And nothing is wrong with you thinking that you are the most important person in the world. But you must also recognize that there are many others apart from you, and that the space that God has created in this world is not only for you. You can only manage so much. So sometimes we tend to forget that others still exist and others still need assistance, and there are some people at lower levels of the on that ladder than we are. We get to a certain level of comfort, and we think that's it. We need not do anything else. Nobody has to worry because there's no one else to think about.
Yeah.
I am here. I have arrived. I've gotten to the place where I always dreamt of being. I have achieved my goal now. I've reached my destiny, as some of us may think. And then we forget about everything else. And we cannot be that selfish all the time. As one caller said a week or so ago when we were speaking about a different topic, that if you only live for yourself, you're really not living, you're just existing.
You're just existing, yeah.
Because to live means that I must take care of myself and those who are dependent on me directly, but also indirectly.
Yeah.
Right? We have to understand that there are others in the world that needs to survive just like we are surviving.
Yeah. We have our first caller for the morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Duncan. Good morning, Mr. Bola. How
Good
are
morning.
you guys
I'm very
doing?
well, my dear.
We're good.
Mr. Bola, you're preaching this morning, man.
Well, some people sometimes say that, but I don't know. I just talk as the spirit moves me. Someone
But
says.
you know what is unfortunate is that the people that need this information, we all need it, but the people that most need it, they don't listen to it.
Well, that's something.
And then they listen to a station that would tell them everything from how to break the law, how to disrespect people, and all the things on all the lies. And they would listen to it and take it as gospel. And this guy, I mean, like he knows where every NNP person lives in. He knows the voice of every NNP person. So when they call a station, he could go on his thing and say, this NNP person here, and this one here, and this one there. No, they're talking about educating the people. My God, you are a host on a radio station. Why don't you use the opportunity you have to educate the people, just like you feel government has the responsibility to educate people? Whose responsibility is it to educate people? It is all of us' responsibility, especially people who have access to these mediums. Because if you're on the station and government is telling the people to wear their mask and to stay in the quarantine and to obey the protocol, and you on your station telling your followers, well, don't pay the money, and this thing is money-making thing, and how the government is responsible when people run away from the quarantine because there's not enough security. Mind you, Grenada is not the only place where people run away from quarantine, but I was reading an article this morning, Mr. Bola.
Yes.
One country charging their people $50,000.
Don't fret to
if
say
they
it's
run
Barbados.
when they run away, because they have 4 of them they pick up. $50,000.
Yep.
When they run away from quarantine. We have another neighboring country that's charging their people $1,000 if they are caught without a mask. And you telling the people here, oh, don't pay. So when you're telling people that, aren't you encouraging people to break the law? Because it is now a law.
Yeah.
Yes.
The next thing is, I don't find the $350 is enough, because Grenada is charging people the lowest amount. For months, they've been telling you to wear your mask. And even the public, sometimes people call the radio stations and call places and say, look, I am getting on the bus and this person and how much people, even the driver, is not wearing a mask. And for months, that's been going on. Now the government has decided that enough is enough. They have had enough of this. So let us now do what we have to do, because the people, if we don't step in, the people are going to put everybody at risk.
Yeah.
So I love my government. You know why? Because they are making sure that I could survive this virus, because they are making sure that people wear their masks. I heard one of the persons saying that, oh, the government don't have no love. If the government had love, to me, it means that if they had love, they wouldn't charge people for not wearing a mask. They would just talk to them. But does the people love themselves and love the rest of the population of going around recklessly not wearing a mask? It's our place in town that's selling masks. $1.50 for one. You're getting 50 masks for $75.
Not cheap, yes.
People follow the protocol and stop listening to people that are not interested in your health and in your well-being. Because if they were interested in your health and your well-being, they would have encouraged you to wear your mask and follow the protocols. And for the people that are coming out from the hot zones, they know, because they have seen containers parked outside to store dead bodies, because the funeral homes cannot hold no more. So people, be careful what you listen to. You come into the country, you know what it is out there. Please, please protect our lives and do what you have to do. Don't come in like a convicted murderer or criminal and be placed in quarantine and expect that there must be a security there. Or if there's not a security there, this convict is going to get away from the facility. People adhere to the protocols when you come to Grenada. And as the other person on the other station was saying, that we do not respect the people that are coming from overseas. When you come, please respect us.
Yeah.
Because we do respect you, but we're asking you to respect us and care about our lives and our well-being, and stay where you're supposed to for the 4, 5, 7, or 14 days that you're supposed to be there. Thank you very much, Mr. Bowler. Ms. Duncan, please have a good day.
You
You
too.
have a wonderful one yourself, and thank you for your comments. We appreciate.
You know, the caller said something, and in my mind as she's speaking, I'm thinking and I'm saying to myself, the only logical reason I can find for these detractors to encourage people not to wear their masks is that they would hope that enough people would get sick enough to overwhelm the already fragile primary healthcare system that we have. So they can beat their chest and say, and we tell all the government are doing nothing good because look how much people sick and dead from COVID because the healthcare system is not good. Anything to get a vote, even at the cost of Grenadians' lives.
Human lives, yeah.
We have a call on the line. Hello, good morning. Hi,
Good morning,
morning.
Mr. Bowler.
Hi.
How are everything?
Very well this morning.
Yeah, Mr. Bowler and Ms. Duncan. I always say, like, if we say we love people, right, and we care about people, we always go and educate them and give them the truth. Because I can't understand how you could say that the government don't love people when they telling people to do what is right. And you have a certain guy on a radio program encouraging people to disrespect authority, right? To disrespect authority and to make them do things that could put their life in danger. And if you love people, you will always try to give them positive things that they could help develop themselves to go forward in life. You know what I'm saying? When a man accuses you of something, he does exactly what they're doing, right? And when the opposition force, like NDC, they speak about the government of love, look at what the government is doing. Where they take your people from and where they put them in the place they put them, where they could feel happy. Where you have, in 2008, a government that got the opportunity to build 2,000 housing units for the Grenadian people. They give up 1,000 housing units and asking the child to give them that money. Right? Because in every country, one of the most important issue is housing the problem. Right? And this government is building housing units for the people of Greater Carriacou and Peter Martin to live in a comfortable home. While in 2008, our government giving up that opportunity to the Grenadian people. Look at healthcare again. The state healthcare was in 2008 to 2013. What they do to church in St. John, because of church take a stand, they punish the people of St. John. Right? And today we talk about people who love, this government who love. When government helping people to get better health treatment, helping them to live in a better housing condition. And while they try to deprive people, I always say, I was saying, the Grenadian people know what is good called. And we know which government is the government that cares and loves people, is the NMP government. And I always say, you take a one person to bring up a child. You take a village to bring up a child, to groom that child, to make a child a better person in society. And if we want to make a child or an individual a better person in society, we have to give them the right information, give them the truth. Because the truth will always stand. Now, when you get the truth and get facts, you go forward in life. But when you get negative things, you don't go forward, go back. So, Mr. Uncle, Mr. Bola, you all have a wonderful day. God bless you.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day as well. We're happy for the comments.
We have a few comments on the live video that I want to get through quickly before the next comment caller comes in. One individual is saying, thank God for this government for giving the young people an opportunity to further their education. My daughter is one of the persons chosen for a scholarship to SGU. Just hearing her name called makes me proud. Another one is saying people must take responsibility for their own actions, but don't people have a mind of their own? One can talk and say what they want, but we as a people must do what is right. And the comments are coming in so fast. Another is saying, I'm looking at the live ceremony going on while I'm looking at this program. I'm so overwhelmed at this moment. Thank you, Doc. I couldn't have done it by myself. So thank you, Dr. Mitchell, again for looking out for the youth. And someone here said a very, very good point. We must understand that wearing the mask isn't to prevent the police from charging us. But wearing the mask is to protect us from getting the virus.
Well, we keep saying and repeating it probably to the annoyance of some people sometimes, that we don't have to be policed to do what is right for us.
Yeah.
It is a sign that we are still mentally enslaved.
Yes.
It is for our benefit. It is for our good. Why do we have to wait until the police charge you or decide to enforce the law for you to do what is correct?
Yeah. We have a call on the line. Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you, Ms. Duncan.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Bola.
Good morning, sir. How
Ms.
are you?
Duncan, I don't want you to... I'm trying to figure out how I am, because it seems to me that you're a very jealous person.
Oh.
People want to pay the fine for us. If people get charged, that's why they're saying don't pay it, because they are going to pay it for us. I mean, I don't see a problem in that.
Okay.
Okay.
I understand where you're coming from. It's just that I want people to understand, like you know very well, we have to take responsibility for our actions.
Yeah.
Because in the past, they have been promised even more than that, and they didn't get anything. They were promised by these same set of guys that's the young people. Oh, we love you like our own children. That's those who are in the money. We won't send not even one of you home. And they were so right. They didn't send one, they sent all. All of them, they sent
all home.
Yes. So
Yes.
I just want people to remember those things. But it is up to us at the end of the day.
Correct is right. And I think it's a very foolish statement to be telling people, don't follow the protocols, don't pay the thing if you're charged, because it's a stain on one's record too. I mean, if you don't pay it, then you can end up in prison. You end up with a record just for stupidness.
Yep.
Just for stupidness. And I want to make a correction that one of your callers made last week.
Mm-hmm.
He made some good points, because I guess where he sits, but he made a statement that says that the police can put you in jail here in the U.S. if you don't wear a seatbelt. That's not true. If they pull you over, they check your license, they check your plate. If you're suspended, if your license is suspended, yes. And also there are certain vehicles, based on their age, they don't have any seat belts, you would not be charged for that. But you don't get thrown in jail in the United States for not wearing a seatbelt. You'll get charged. You'll get a ticket.
Right.
But you don't get thrown in jail.
But if you don't pay the ticket?
Well, if you don't pay the ticket, your license gets suspended.
They don't take you to court and things like that?
Your license gets suspended.
Yeah, I understand that part, but there is no further procedures. Like
no, you right. So you may end up in court, and if you get a summons to go to court, the judge would order you to pay the ticket.
Okay.
So you get a summons in the mail, and then you go to court, and that's the thing. But they're not. I'm not sure if that's what they do in Grenada, but here in the US...
So even in Grenada, you don't just go to jail directly. If a ticket is given to you for not wearing your seatbelt, for speeding, for whatever reason, you have that opportunity, if you so desire, to challenge that ticket in court. You don't have to pay it instantly. You may feel that you was within your rights. You may feel that the police went out of bounds, whatever you feel, and you can go to court and challenge it. Chances are, if you did not win the court battle there, you may be charged even more sometimes. Sometimes the charges are increased. And if you still decide you're not going to pay, you can get a term in prison. So maybe the caller thought that, there were some similarities to that in the U.S. But we understand your point.
He should seek information.
Yeah.
And one important thing what I want to say concerning that case we had, and I think over 120% of the Grenadian population would have come down negative on this gentleman who came to see his parents.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has an emotional feeling to their loved one. What is striking, and I think that we miss that, is that from the night that the thing was aired on Junior George program, someone called him and tell him he is free to go. That was about after 7, 8 o'clock at night. And I think that is very strange. It should not be so. And I think as far as I also understood, if the ministry is going to allow you to go, I'm not sure, you're supposed to get some kind of documentation saying that, okay, you're free to leave quarantine. Not calling you in the night after 8 and say, after the program, okay, you are free to go. And I think that is wrong.
It was that called him?
No, but that's not what happened, though, eh? I can give you clarity.
But
that's what he said.
But
that's what he said to make it sound as if, as a result of the program, he was released. That's not what happened. What happened was his results came back, and he was not the only person that was released. And that is how they communicate with you, because they give them a number on entry, and they call you to let you know, okay, your results have returned negative. You are free to leave. That is how it happens with all patients in quarantine who have done a PCR test. There's no special person coming to knock on your door and say, okay, well, you could go now, and they don't wait until in the morning, to say
once
the results are
and
available,
results come 24/7.
they will send it back to you. It was just, and I feel
a coincidence.
It was just a coincidence, and I feel like the gentleman knew that it was around that time in which he would get his results, because they did say 24 to 48 hours after taking the sample is when you will get your results, right? So he took.
But is it?
Go ahead.
Okay, but is it not true? Is it not true that the lab in Grenada closed at 4 o'clock?
No. There are two labs that operate in Grenada. One at the SGU and one at the hospital, and they run 24/7.
Yeah, they may be very careful. They may stop taking samples or giving out results to the general public at 4 o'clock, but it doesn't mean that the lab closes at 4 o'clock.
Okay. Well, my statement was made based on
what you heard.
On his thing, because he came back and he did say that after the program, then somebody from the ministry called him. Somebody called him. I shouldn't say from the ministry, but somebody called him and told him he was free to go, and he was making the point that it is as a consequence of the program that he did with Junior George. So
but that's crazy.
My statement was based on that.
I'll tell you why it's crazy as well. The Ministry of Health, they're not mad people. They are not going to let an individual, and mind you, this same gentleman did not come into Grenada with a PCR test. He came in with a rapid test, so he didn't even come in with the proper testing. So even if they wanted to go based on a test, they had nothing to go based on. So he had to, under any circumstance, wait for the results of his PCR test, because he had no basis to go on in the first place. Ministry of Health is not crazy in Grenada. They are not going to let a man go based on the fact that he went on Junior George and say that he felt like they did him dirty. It's not going to happen. Then that would mean, and it would set a precedent, that anybody could go on any social media program or any media house and say that they feel like they've been treated unfairly, and then government is just going to let them go. They're not crazy. So in its sense, when you think about it, it just doesn't make sense.
Well, I take your point, but I think for a wider population, maybe if someone from the ministry, maybe the doctor, can call and say, well, this is not so. I mean, it's good coming from you, but I'm just saying. And
They did.
I didn't know. Okay, but I want to thank you, Mr. Bola, for keeping me in mind and other people, because when the doctor did call last week, I'm not sure if it's Thursday or Friday, you did ask us the question, and I did get my question answered. So at least you have been a good person. So I can't chastise you. No.
I always try to be good. I am not good always, but I try my best. Even when I don't even feel like doing it, I still try to be good. I'm being very honest.
Okay, so have a good day. Mr. Can have a wonderful evening.
But just one thing before you go. If you remember, way before we got to where we are now, when the protocol that you come in, you had to quarantine for 14 days and all that, you are one of the persons that has always been consistent that we need to do more, in terms of getting our people back. And you see, as time goes by and the science is proving things to make that whole COVID thing a little bit more comfortable, the ministry is moving likewise. So now they have moved from the 14 days to at least a 4 days minimum, not maximum, minimum. Saying that, look, when you're coming,
4 days, 5 nights, eh?
Right. When you come in, you must have a PCR test that is done within 7 days before you travel. We're going to accept it once it's a PCR test, and then we're going to keep you a minimum of 4 days, after which time we'll do another test. And once that results come back negative, you will then be free to go. So no longer you have to spend 14 days, except you come back with a negative, with a positive test.
Well, the thing is, what I can confirm is that the ministry, from since before the thing ever reached our show, the ministry has been working. I can't say 24 hours, but they have been working and updating the public as what is going on, and things change from time to time. Then it went to a lockdown, and now there is a new update. So I don't know what kind of mysterious thing people think is going on, and they never knew, and this and that, and all kind of puppy show thing. This thing ain't flying by me.
Well, you won't, because I've always been keeping up to date. So it won't fly by you. I don't expect it to.
And they would have known. And what is so funny, I find, the gentleman said that he went online and he read what he needs to get done. But if you say you read and you get everything, and then you still say, as Ms. Duncan said, you got a rapid test. They never say any rapid test on the website, so I don't know. I know what he read.
He said his justification for not doing the right thing was that all kind of people was telling him all kind of thing.
But after you read, and we keep saying all the time, when you hear something, when you see something, verify, make a call, check somebody who you think is a higher authority than you. Don't just listen. I mean, social media has so much commentators, and everybody become an expert because they know how to punch two keys to put a video up or something. They become expert on everything. Oh Lord!
And that's the thing. If you read rapid test on the website, then okay, then you read a rapid test. But the thing is, I can say with a surety that rapid test was never there.
Nope, it's not there.
The government says PCR test.
Yeah.
So I don't know how come PCR means. If I don't know that PCR was the acronym for rapid. I don't know. I know.
I'll tell you
things getting funny in this world.
I'll tell you this. I have spoken to colleagues in different Caribbean islands, and they have indicated that we have one of the strictest protocols in the region. Grenada has one of the strictest protocols in the region. You come in, you have to do a test. You go in, you have to do a test. I mean, people are skeptical of whether they want to come or go because of how strict it is. And people ask, well, why so strict? It is strict because those are the rules that have kept us safe, and we want to continue being safe. We want to continue living in the naivety that COVID-19 is a hoax for some people, or living in the naivety that if I get it, I'm going to recover, or that people don't really die from it. That's what we want to continue doing.
Because, Ms. Duncan, the lack of leadership here in the U.S., too many people have died.
Yep.
And counting.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And counting. One state yesterday report 40,000 new cases just yesterday.
Wow.
40,000.
So it's not getting any better,
new
right?
cases.
It's going up, actually.
Not doing any better. And we have no deaths in Grenada. We had cases. We have no deaths. I'm not praying for any deaths. Guyana has a couple of deaths. It's not a good thing. But it's the reality, and we have no deaths.
And
we still crying down.
Funny enough, caller, we jumping up about, we have COVID in Grenada, or we have had cases, and we still fighting up. We look at 27 cases. When you call people and they ask you, well, how much cases are there? And you say 27, they ships in and laugh. Because, 27 cases, while 0 cases is actually what we would have preferred. But 27 cases is nothing to talk about when you look at the wider world and how many people have died and how many people have contracted, how many people are still suffering with, even in the region itself. We have done extremely well.
That's it. That's it. We have done extremely well. We have no deaths. I believe Trinidad have a couple deaths, and I don't confirm. I know for sure Guyana has a couple deaths.
Guyana, Jamaica, I think St. Lucia has about 9. They're up to, the last news I heard, St. Lucia was up to about 36, and they were confirming that they start having community spread. They were tracing one, that's something that started with a bus driver, and a taxi driver or something, and it had spread to a family and then a school teacher, and so they started having community spread, which is one of the things we really don't want in Grenada, because when you start having community spread, you're in for real trouble.
Yeah. And Tiga and Barbuda recently noted that a 4-year-old child is it 4 years, has contracted the virus, and that they had to shut down an entire daycare center. Just like
yesterday,
that.
Yesterday, I think the COVID-19 team, I would say, in Pennsylvania was saying that they see a lot of deaths between the age of 25 and 35. You know, you have younger people too,
of course,
but within that age, and that's the age when, you know, a lot of young people reckless. I don't care. I do what I want. It's my life. Yeah. But the thing is, and then what is bad is that the scientists are saying that the numbers that they reported is those that actually die from the virus. But then you also have spin-off people who die as a result of. So you had maybe a heart problem or some other problem, but then you get this thing and then you die. That's another figure. So if they crunch all these numbers, the figures are going to be even higher.
Yep, understood.
You know?
Well, let me just say one last thing before you run off. We were still struggling with the issue as to why people do what they do, like that young man who went on right along and give a story to make it look as though he got a bad rap, he was treated indifferently. I think there are some of us, especially nationals who are abroad, not so much foreign people coming into Grenada, you know, because to date, I have not heard, and I'm not saying it never happened, but I have not heard of any report of a foreigner, a visitor, a tourist, coming to Grenada, breaking protocol or refusing to do as they are asked to do. It's generally our people who are returning, whether for a visit or are returning back home, that believes it. Because I think we are taking for granted that Grenada is a small place and anything goes. But people must understand that we have laws, we have rules, we have regulations, and it is meant to be followed.
Yes. Well, in my mind, and I want every Grenadian to listen very carefully. Persons feel that when they travel from maybe the U.S. or Canada, they're better than
I didn't want to say that, but you're saying it, so go ahead.
No, I'm saying, and I want my people to listen. We're no better off. We're the same people. That's why when we come back to the same house. Even though the house have hole in it, we come back to the same house. And we feel that because we come back, that the government or the authorities must listen and do what we say, because we come from a so-called first world country, the United States or Canada or England, wherever. And no rules should apply to us because we living out and we come in, even as nationals. And I think that is very foolish of us to think so. There are rules in place for a reason, and I think we should stop being high-minded, come down to a low level and respect the rules of the land, obey the rules of the land. And I think once people, this is my thing, once people start behaving reckless, I think that one of the things the government should seek to do first is to take their travel documents, because they can come, break rules, fly out, as this guy who fly back went in England. You don't know anything about him anymore.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Take the travel documents so that they cannot go. You have to face the consequences, and I think that the government should look into that. And this $350, I mean, yes, I love the government, but this $350 charge, that is foolishness. That is foolishness. It isn't making any sense. You have to charge the people more and make sure that they pay or face a higher time in jail just for doing such stupidness, because you're going to put the number of people that die here in the U.S. is the population of Grenada 2 times and a little more.
Yep.
2 times and a little more. Yep. So people must think and stop being foolish. We say we love our land, let's do what is right, and stop putting people in danger. This is a serious time. Absolutely. So have a good day, have a wonderful evening, Ms. Duncan. We will talk some other time.
All right.
I wish you a pleasant afternoon too. Take care. Go in peace and serve the Lord.
Yes, Mr. Boy.
All right. Good.
Yeah, and
that-
as the caller brought it up, I think maybe it's time that we give a little update on places in the Caribbean and how they're faring with COVID-19. Some still have a few active cases. Some have not had active cases in a while. And I want to just shed some light. We're looking at places like Guyana, who's struggling with the effects of COVID, and are now at 3,850 cases, and closer to home.
That's the overall cases, but that's
Overall.
not the active amount at the moment.
No,
you know?
the active amount in Guyana at the moment is 2,839. And you're right. Maybe I should
But you can see what is overall and
right.
identify what is active now.
In Trinidad and Tobago, 5,392 cases so far, 101 deaths, and 3,822 of those
Active at the
cases
moment.
are still active. Jamaica really has been battling with COVID, and only today recorded 155 new cases.
New cases. too.
And they are up to 8,600 cases with 5 new deaths today, right? And overall 179 deaths. And this is just to give you an idea of what Grenada could become if we are not careful. If we are not careful. And these places don't have top class medical facilities and wonderful health care that can, even the great Spain, Germany, these places that had the best health care, they buckled under COVID-19.
But I mean, I think the closest example to us is the US that most of us know about.
Of course.
And talk about and have a lot of relatives. So
Of course.
we should be much more informed about the US, which is a first world country.
Yeah.
With the leading economy in the world.
Yeah.
A place that everybody talks about, the Big Apple. America, the best place to go, where dreams can come true. I mean, they went flat on their face as it relates to COVID.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of deaths.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we are struggling here. We are in no way, when you talk about the resources, both human and financial, can compare to them. But we have been able, because of the precautionary measures we have taken, because of the protocols that have been put in place, because we have been asking and pleading with our people to adhere. And granted that quite a lot of people in Grenada
Have adhered.
are adhering to the protocols and are doing as they are told.
Yeah.
Have been obeying the laws, have been listening and practicing what the regulations say they should do. Practicing the protocols. We have a few people, however, who feel for some reason either they are above the law, either that the system are immune to COVID, either that they know better the science than those in the medical field. And as a caller put it the other day, they are right down to selfishness. It's about me and nobody else, so they don't care anything, that are challenging the present status quo and are doing things in a way that will cause people to feel very worried. And in addition to that, we have a lot of people, as I've said earlier on, who have become experts overnight. So they're onto Facebook and other social media platforms and giving all sorts of advice and talking about all kind of things that should be done, could be done, wasn't done, and all kind of things, and not listening to those people who have a trained mind medically, what they have advised us to do.
And it's funny, even the experts themselves, all over the world, people who have received Nobel Awards and so on, are still battling with how they can manage COVID, how we can find a vaccine, understanding COVID, because we still haven't understood it in full yet. But yet we have some professionals in Grenada, maybe they should be awarded because they have the cure. I heard one lawyer the other they're saying that we have the cure for COVID in Grenada, prophylactics.
I don't know. Maybe he had it and he got cured through that.
We had a cure. So it just goes to show that we consider our opinions as fact. We don't know how to decipher. We don't know how to understand the difference between what is your opinion, meaning what you feel or what you think of something, and the reality of what that thing is. or what that situation is. Because there's a big difference. There's a big difference. And we have to understand that what you feel about something doesn't necessarily make that thing what it is. It's just how you feel and how you interpret it and how you understand it. Doesn't mean that that is what it is.
Absolutely.
And we have to be very careful with that in understanding that we must identify when something is our opinion and when something is a fact. And we keep getting that wrong all the time. As you
Most of the time.
Most of the time. You have people going on in media and saying all kind of things and not saying, well, this is my opinion of what it is. So you have people out there listening saying, Lord, that is true. That happened in truth. And big educated people, as the caller a couple of days ago said, big educated people are the ones doing
But you have some educated people that are small too, and they do that.
Big, small, middle, all kind of
Just say educated people. Great. Because, I mean, come on.
Just doing this nonsense.
So then you want to make those who are smaller and they are educated, you want to make them feel bad?
All right, sorry. I'll include them. Educated people.
I so like you when you take corrections.
Educated people just doing this thing, just going out there and saying all. For example, that union leader, I don't want to call her by name, took to the media just the other day, and last night. I was so disappointed, Mr. Bola, because what we want to hear from these leaders is to encourage people to wear their masks. How could you waste media time to go and talk about, the minister didn't seek any counsel before going to the hospital and clean the external grounds, and disinfectant and so on that they use could affect the patients and all of that. Wasted time. Airtime to talk about this when she could have used that time to appeal to the people of Grenada.
Don't agree with you.
Tell me why you don't agree.
Because, of course, the media is the one who allowed her time and opportunity to express herself. Those were the things she wanted to talk about. Whether they were fact or opinion, as you are talking about, the media gave her the time. The very said media could have used the same time to ask her, what advice would you like to give to your workers out there, the people whom you represent as a union leader?
Right.
But they didn't. They could have asked her, what would you say to the school children? What would you want to say to the working population of the country in respect to COVID-19 and the protocols? They did not ask her that. Maybe she went forward to say that's what she wanted to talk about, and they allowed her to. They accommodated her, or maybe they asked her opinion on it. Maybe what she did not do was say, in my opinion,
yes,
which is what she probably should have said. I think that the minister should have inquired. And who knows whether the ministers did inquire or not.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Have anyone verified?
But I don't believe that Minister Delma Thomas got up on Saturday morning and just decided, you know what? I'm going to clean the hospital today, man. I don't believe that Dr. McIntosh, the director, saw Minister Thomas walking down the hill with a broom and a mop and just say, you know what? She's a minister, man. Whatever she's going to do is okay. On Saturday morning. I don't believe that happened. There must have been some dialogue, some consultation. There must have been some visit before to identify the areas of interest in which they would like to attend to. That must have happened. They didn't just wake up Saturday morning and decide that is what they're going to do.
Is that now a fact or your opinion?
In my opinion.
So say that, please.
In my opinion.
We're telling people our opinion and facts, and we want to be sure that when we're giving our opinions, we're making it our opinion. When we inquire and we verify, we can say it is a fact that this is what happened. Yes?
Yeah.
So you give your opinion. But, getting back to that, which is where we started before, for some reason we
branched off,
or we got engulfed into the whole, because I think the COVID situation is still so very fluid and people are still so concerned that you normally just get into it and have discussions about it. I think that the new minister in her new, with part of her portfolio being now expanded to take under her wings hospital services and community health. Listening to the press conference has laid out some very ambitious plans. Yes, ambitious, I say, because it's a lot to do. And it's a lot to try to achieve. However, though, I think from what I've heard from her, both herself and her PS, they are all vital. They are all important arms of healthcare and hospital services that needs to be tackled.
Right.
They are all areas that need greater attention and greater resources. Now, whether or not they can achieve them is dependent not only on them, but also on us.
Yeah.
How much are we as a people willing to invest in terms of time, in terms of money, in terms of our own responsibility for our health? Because sometimes we take for granted, well, I can do what I want, eat what I want, live how I want, drink what I want. When I get sick, that's the responsibility of the hospital and the government. That's the responsibility of the nurses and the doctors.
Yeah.
And we take absolutely no responsibility for what happens to us or what happens to our children or those under our care.
Yeah.
Our parents who are senior. We don't believe that we have a responsibility to ensure that they do things or things are done for them in a particular way that will ensure that their health are maximized, that they care and what we do for them and with them can only going to enhance their health and make it much better for them and for us.
Yeah.
We just do anything in it. So we have a responsibility. So the plans laid out by the minister, they spoke at length on several things that they would like to see, that they would like to do. They spoke about things that they are already in dialogue about, and changes and hiring of new staff for various areas and re-implementing certain things that once happened and was off for whatever reason. Good, I say, good. But all of these things can be realized and can be very successful if we play our part.
Of course.
Right? A lot of what we as the population have to do was not discussed at length. I was heartened to hear, though, that in terms of community education, in terms of outreach programs where people would learn more how to care, how to deal with and to prevent to a certain extent some of these lifestyle diseases like the diabetes, the hypertension, even cancer.
Right.
Those are all lifestyle diseases. It is because of what we consume, when we consume them, how much of it we consume, the lack of exercise, the lack of drinking sufficient, clean and pure water, contaminated air that we breathe, eating with dirty hands, and all of those things, when people get to know more about it, when we encourage people, when we bring the issue of personal hygiene and healthcare into schools. Because here's what. If the schools and the young children, even from the primary level, are being taught about personal hygiene and care and diet and so, they go home and they enforce it, because they tell their parents, they remind. No. A teacher is a very valuable individual.
Very valuable.
And I believe that even some of the teachers of this country do not understand the role they play in molding the minds of today.
It's not just
people.
another job.
And the people for tomorrow,
Yeah.
Some of us don't understand that the responsibility is squarely on our shoulders to mold the minds and put people in the right frame for today and for tomorrow.
But I'll tell you this, Mr. Bowler, they are even as important or more so important than the government, because they shape the future.
But that's what I'm saying. They mold the minds, they shape. And what we put and inculcate into the minds of these young ones can determine what our nation becomes tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And I know some people going to make the argument, well, Bola, if all you know that, why you don't treat them better and this, that, and the other. Granted that they probably, that there may be room for that kind of argument. There may be room to highlight the downfalls or the pitfalls or the areas where the Ministry of Education or the government itself has lapsed, have not provided all the necessary help. And so there may be room for that. But that's a discussion that must take a different forum and a different format. We are now talking about the roles and responsibilities. Yes? And we must first get that very clear, that we all have roles and responsibilities. Yes. And then along the line, we can draft in, well, if I am expected to perform, optimally, my roles and functions, I believe I must be compensated optimally for those roles and functions.
But also, most importantly, Mr. Bolo, with that argument must come some review, because I cannot be a teacher and I'm working tooth and nail to ensure that the people that are in my care, the children, the wards that are in my care, are exceeding and excelling. And then there's a teacher sitting there lazily doing everything and benefits off of my hard work. That can't happen. That should not happen.
It should not happen. And that is a discussion. That's why I say the discussion about duly compensated and so is a separate one from roles and functions. Because one has to come, there must be a medium through which we can justify, what X gets as compared to what Y gets. And this is why a different conversation.
We have a call on the line. Hello. Morning, caller.
Morning.
How are you, sir? Good morning.
Morning, not too bad.
Well, there's a big cock crowing in the back there, boy. What?
Yeah.
You have him in pen or you free roaming?
He loose, but he like me.
Yeah, you better keep him close, boy.
Yeah.
And in a yari doesn't go down good in a piece soup,
Sometimes.
So careful, eh?
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead, shoot.
One of the things that I cannot understand with them, the people are telling you don't wear masks. They themselves are wearing masks,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's amazing to know from where you sit, you're advising people not to do something and you are doing it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this thing baffles me now.
Yeah.
So I'll call upon these people to stop misleading the population and tell them to do as I do, because they are wearing masks.
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome with your point. Very strong, very clear, very straight to the point.
And Mr. Bolo, we saw the same individual just this week walking in town, all heads high, with their mask on, wearing it properly.
Yeah. Well, we have always said on this station, you are responsible for where you go, for what you become.
Yeah.
You are responsible for making the decisions that will determine whether your life goes up or down, whether you go forward in life or you go backward. Yes, you can listen to all of us. You can listen to us on Hard Talk. You can listen to any other program. You can listen to any radio host. You can read any bit of newspaper. You can see all that is on social media. Yeah. But you, at the end of the day, is the one who determines, hey, this is the best advice for me.
Yeah.
This is what I should consume into my system and live by. This is the creed that I will follow.
Yeah.
I recall very, very, very early when this pandemic got on the scene and there was talk about it started in Wuhan, China, and everybody was that the Chinese are spreading it, and this government was taking leaks.
Yep.
All kind of things were being said on social media. Everybody was up in arms about the Chinese and this, that, and the other. I recall on this very program we said, listen, leadership, as we know it, proper leadership, especially in times of crisis, is not determined by the noise that is being made in the marketplace, but by the decisions that are taken based on research, consultation, and advice from people who know. And yes, you have to listen to the masses. The masses must speak. They must get an opportunity to air their views. They must be given a chance through a consultative process. And this administration has been doing that, This administration, this government has been having several virtual sessions. Mm-hmm. I have been privy to being quite a few of those virtual sessions. They happen. In fact, even this evening, there's going to be one with the populace in the St. George Parish. Yes? Carriacou had this, St. Andrews, St. Mark's. But on top of that, while this virtual wrong is going to be completed, there's another wrong that has started since last Tuesday.
Yeah.
Where this time they got a place and kept, and that first one in Sauters at the that I spoke about last week at the Anglican school in Sauters, the primary school, had about 75 to 80 people, all obeying the protocols with the mask on, socially distant the way they sat, got a chance to listen to the ministers, listen to the prime minister, and ask questions. And that is what is most important. You get a chance to ask questions, to make comments, to talk about things that you've seen, things that you've heard, things that you believe should happen, things that are happening, and you think it can be done better, things that are not happening.
Yeah.
Because this is an administration that believes in people's participation and power. And so this next Tuesday, there'd be another session for the residents in the St. Andrews Northeast constituency.
Right.
And that will be happening at the Bella Government School. Again, everyone must know that if you're going, you must have your mask. You have to be hand sanitized in entering the building. And they are only going to accommodate the amount that can be seated, socially distanced within the hall. So if, for example, the hall has the capacity, it's up to capacity with the people, others who come would be told, listen, we can't take any more because we need to obey the protocols.
Yeah.
Maybe you can stand outside. Maybe you may hear from what is happening. You may have a question that you may want to write, and the slip can be given to someone inside who can ask it on your behalf. But people will not be allowed to go inside. And this is the government doing it. It is being facilitated by the GIS and so. So I'm saying that to say that the people of Grenada are being given, even in this time, an opportunity where they can speak on issues. There's no particular issue that you can talk about because the government is coming with their people to report to you, and you in turn from the community level can report back to them, can give your comments, can ask your questions, can seek answers to things that you don't fully allow. I understand, sorry, right? And they would allow it. So there is avenues for discussion, and that's not the only avenue. This is
well. Actually, Minister Dema Thomas had a meeting in Mount Morris last night regarding they're rolling out some plans for the renovation of some
the
health centers and so on. And they had a meeting, very successful meeting last night, one in many to come. So it's not just this face-to-face meeting, but all of the other consultations that will be happening by government, but not even by government only, but by private individuals who want to help, because our party has gone on this initiative to encourage business people, to give them information that they need, to start up their business, to work on the business that they already have, and so on. So these avenues are available. But as we always say, Mr. Bola, the noise is loudest on social media. But when it comes time for the actual consultation, time to actually put in the work,
a lot of people go to hide because you see, they don't have anything of substance really to say or to add to what is already happening. And I've said it before. It's a good friend of mine who have said to me, listen, Bola, there are some people who would always find a problem for every solution that you have.
Yep.
He did not say they would find solution for a problem. He said find a solution. Some people will find a problem for it.
Yep.
Yeah? They will not come and say, well, oh, look, I see you making an attempt here. But I believe if you move that 2 degrees to the north, you will do better than you're doing now. No. They condemn it. It's not good. This is a waste of time. One guy, he has been Mr. Universe for 3 or 4 consecutive years, and a very popular and successful movie star, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is from Austria, but became an American citizen, was even the governor of California, where he lived for a while. He is not a Native American. He wasn't born there. No. He said from very early he had a dream. He saw a magazine with a bodybuilder and decided that's who he wanted to be. That's who he would idealize. So he said he looked forward every day because he had a goal and an intention to go into the gym to work out for 5 hours on a daily basis.
Wow.
Because he knew for every rep he did, every time he did a sit-up, every time he lifted a 500-pound weight, he was getting one step closer to realizing the dream that he has.
Yeah.
Many of us go through this life without even having a dream. We're not even dreaming, more or less, to decide this is what I want to be. And here's what. Doesn't mean that because we dream up something, because we have a goal, because we set ourselves a certain target to achieve, that we would not have shortcomings and failures in. As someone said, the only time you really fail is when you get knocked down by life and its challenges and you never get up.
Stop trying. Mm-hmm.
You stop trying. You didn't get up and try again. Then you fail. As long as you will get up and try, you are not a failure.
I do have a different viewpoint as well to that, because we have to be cautious. While what you're saying is absolutely correct, we also have to be cautious that what we want to do and what we are able to do,
of course,
are two very different
yes,
things.
Yes.
Because sometimes you have individuals who may, let's say, for example, you've been unemployed for years and you've been looking for a job, but there's so many employment opportunities that are there. And you're wondering, well, why is this person not applying? Because that is not what they want to do. Now, when they get the job that they actually want to do, they cannot function in it.
Right.
It's not because what you wanted to do is hard. It's just because maybe that's just not the job for you.
Because you see, when we talk about having a goal, having a dream, and setting yourself a certain target, that is only task number 1.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about task number 2, 3, and 4. Because when you get to like something and to want something, there is also then task number 2, planning out how you will get that something.
You will get it, yeah.
So if my desire and my dream is to be a doctor, I can't just sit down home and say, but waiting for when they need a doctor in the hospital. I must know what are the steps, A, B, C, D, that I have to do. What are the timelines do I give myself?
Yeah.
You know, how much time do I need in pre-med? Because then you have to investigate and inquire about the field that you want to get into.
Yeah.
What does it require? Where am I as it relates to the requirements?
Yes.
Do I have all of it? Do I need to get more of it?
Yeah.
Do I need to start from the beginning?
Yeah.
You know, so there are several other steps, but it starts with having a dream and a goal. Right? So you dream that up. That's what you want to be. Don't let anybody tell you it can't happen. It may happen quicker for some people than for others. Some trees bloom before others.
Yeah.
Oh man, take some okra seeds and plant them. The same time they are planted, in the same area. Some bloom and bear while others just bloom in. So we don't all bloom at the same time. Right. But you see, if it's all been given the treatment that it deserves, they will bloom wherever they are planted. Yes?
It needs to be watered and taken care of. And if you're not willing to take the time to do that, or even make the time to do it, then maybe that's not what you're supposed to be doing.
Maybe not.
Like me, I have no business in planting because I don't have the time to water nothing.
All right.
So I already understand that.
Okay.
You know, so that's not my goal. But
Okay.
if I decide that this is what I want to do, then I must make a conscious effort to ensure that it blooms and grows.
Because there are specific goals and then there are broad goals. Because remember, we're living in a society that is multifaceted. We are not living by ourselves. And I mean, we can live in society, with society, but still be individualized with certain things.
Yeah.
Right? But we don't just want to survive or exist.
Yeah.
We want to be a part of what is happening. We want to make sure that we make our contribution where we can, when we can.
And we want to leave a positive footprint as well.
Of course. Not just for our offsprings, but for society at large.
Yeah.
Right? We would not all go up in the Hall of Fame. We would not all be knighted by the Queen. We will not all get a Medal of Honor, but we can all live a very honorable life wherever we are. Yes. Bloom where we are planted. That little song we used to sing back in those early days, a little brighten the corner where you are. brighten that corner. We must be willing to brighten the
Yes.
corner where we are. Sometimes we talk about the darkness that exists, but right in our footstool, we won't light a sticker match or put the flame on a candle
Yeah.
to just brighten that corner.
Absolutely.
And even when we do it and we brighten our corner, we're not going to turn our candle over to give a light to another person. So we must brighten, but we must also encourage other people to brighten where they are. And that might be just by lending a hand to them, giving a little hand up, giving a little assistance, giving an advice, tapping a youngster on the shoulder and say, hey, son, I know you're struggling. I know what you're going through. I've been through it myself. I've lived through that experience myself. These are the choices that I made. And their choice doesn't have to be exactly like yours.
Yeah.
But at least sharing your life story and understanding that you have been through the meals as well may give them the encouragement and the motivation that they need to start grinding again, to put their shoulders to the wheel, to start moving that whole cart again so that they can get something done. So we must not only brighten the corner, and it's good to brighten our corner, but we must assist in making other corners bright by giving a light to other people. Because this country belongs to all of us, you know. This issue about fighting COVID and dealing with the issue of COVID is not an issue for one set of people in society. It's not for the business sector or the religious community only, you know. It is not for the government. It is not for the youth. It is for every single Grenadian.
Yes.
And believe it or not, we don't have to catch COVID to be affected negatively by it.
Absolutely. We have a caller on the line. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you.
Good morning.
And good morning to the dog.
How are you, sir?
Not too bad. And how are you
Good.
today?
We well, man. We're doing well.
Trust me. You're fascinating. Trust me. This book
Well,
has grown. Huh?
you say
It's
that
really
all the
grown.
time. Thank you. I don't need to doubt you.
Yeah, you are transforming. Really transforming.
I hope that I can touch some lives and I
Yeah,
can change a
think
few
you do.
people.
I think you do. I think you do.
I really hope.
It's not everybody that will pass give you the praise,
Okay.
but I think you deserve it.
Thank you.
And I think you're making a serious impact. I don't think there's any room to criticize.
I mean, I really hope you will when you can, you know.
But he's looking for room to
I want him to, of course, because that can only help me to grow and become better.
I had been listening to the program.
Yes.
Don't believe I wasn't listening. I had been listening to the program for all the time. And I said, enough is enough. Let me call and see what I have to say.
Yes.
Right? So I have to give you the praise.
Well, thank you so
and I have
much.
to say the station has grown. It's become an information center.
Well, thank you for
And
that.
what a pity. What a pity. I think you're still young.
Well, it depends on what you're talking about. I'm young for.
If I didn't know you, if I didn't see you once,
Yes.
maybe I would think somewhere else.
Okay.
But I saw you.
Yes, we did
And
meet.
regardless of age up or age down,
Yes.
sometimes I don't see up or down.
Yes.
I see across.
Right.
You just don't see life. Life doesn't have up and down.
Yeah.
Life goes across. Life
Across.
doesn't have any rich and poor. It doesn't have any old and young because no one could see life. It's there.
Mm-hmm.
It's an equality there.
Mm-hmm.
But what a pity that you are saying this thing from the radio station point of view
Yes.
and you're not on the ground because that is where the problem lies.
Yes.
We need people on the ground. And I
Okay.
suppose like I ask questions.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a village community development group headed by the party? And I was told, no, we doesn't have that group. You know, representatives play a very, very important role in
Yes.
stimulating people.
Yes.
And even though you're not doing anything but you're just on the side giving jokes,
Mm-hmm.
that is a command. You get people to do things.
Mm-hmm.
We want that. We want to see the various representatives get involved on the ground, Saturday, Sunday, public holidays, doing nothing but just pouring your people on. We want to see that. Community cleanups, community development, be there, because that's how you're going to transform across boundaries. Not
Yes.
one color, you transform across boundaries.
Yes.
And you get things, because you cannot build without the community. That's
True.
where you have to start. You build through the community. Once you go support the country people to do things, you can build from there. You don't have to spend much money, you know. I could get $1 million. I could get 1 million things done with just maybe $5, right? People want to be there. They want to associate. And I've seen it happen. I want that to happen. So spread it. Yes. Get it. I'm charging you with responsibility. Get that done. Okay. We want to see the representative. I listened to Sister Thomas. I call her there because, she's real. And she's saying the things that ought to be said and the right thing to say. To me, she's a people person. Yes. We want this kind of leadership on the ground who have interest in people's development, people's well-being. You take somebody, I believe in holding people's hand. I take you from nothing, I bring you up, I walk you to success, and I take another. I believe that. Yes. I don't believe in too much group, because group sometimes fails. I take one person who has the ability to transform, and I work with that person, and I let you go, and then I take the next person. Right. So we want this on the ground in every village to support people to move forward. But here's what I'm recommending now. I look at the Ministry of Works. They're struggling. I make my prediction and I see it happen. Too much work to do now for the money that you have. Right. So you have a lot of roads that's not being done in a halfway because you doesn't have the money. I am proposing now that for those people who have lands on the roadside, the government give everybody the opportunity to buy a weed eater. Give them the concession, not the purchasing, but give them the concession so that they will buy the weed eater with an agreement that they do the roadside as regular as possible. And if they don't do that, then you withdraw it. You don't charge them make them pay the duty because of matter of it. We take it back. So that's an agreement. We take it from you. Full stop. It's not yours. And we need to do that to give the government a chance to go into the interior. A lot of the roads like Malmö, Brooklyn, Carriacou, Kabi, where sometimes it's left behind in a bushing, or maybe the overhang and it's overgrown, it's touching the other side now. The government have the chance now to go there. Because the money they will spend on the main route, someone is spent because, look, I own half a mile, and I'm going to do that because I have a machine from the government. So the government now we're going to take that money to go inside to do the interior. Because that is where we have to concentrate now for strengthening and building the economy, the interior, where there is no houses, no electricity, no water. We have to get there. So I thought I should raise it with you because you are the right person to raise it with. And the other things I try to catch you, how much times, and every time I call, well, you're gone already.
Gone already, and it's move fast, because sometimes you have other things I must go and touch on.
Yes, I'm sitting by hoping that I'll be able to catch you after, because I really want to really discuss you. But I want you to take this thing and bring it across, because if the government do that, some people may say, no, the government could do things, give them with it to no.
Well, they're giving them the concessions.
Well, if government do that, they're taking work from people. No, it has too much work in roads for people not to get work constantly.
Well, you're not taking work from them, you're just sending them in another area that needs them.
That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. So for those people who have the house on the roadside and waiting the government to cut the grass, then we give you the opportunity to get a weed eater. We give you the concession, but we want to, because we will follow up. That you do it. So it might be half a mile, it might be quarter of a mile, and if each one will do something, you might have a whole village being done, and the government don't even have to spend money to do that. And then they take that money now to go to another area.
The point
to employ the same people.
Redirecting resources.
We are stretching the dollar, we call that.
That's what you do.
Well, thank you so much for your comments. We appreciate it very much.
Bye-bye.
Yes. All right, 11:38. So probably if there's one person who has an intention to call, you have a chance now. We don't have a lot of time, but we can take one or possibly two calls.
I want to read some of the comments on the live video. Someone is saying here, exactly, Mr. Bola, it's not a political thing. COVID is everybody's business, not just tourism. This is simple. We have to take responsibility for our actions. We can't continue blaming everyone else. COVID is real. People are dying every day, so it's up to us. And we have that call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. To the last caller, I don't think there is duty on the weed eater.
Okay.
And to what Mr. Bola was saying about your dream, I just want to add a little point to it. Dream, you have David, and David is D for D's dream. A is what you want to aspire, or what you want to achieve. V is for vision. I is for inspiration. And D is for determination.
Determination.
And this is how David captured Goliath.
Okay.
Defeat Goliath. And then Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3 says, verse 2. Write the vision and make it plain upon tablets,
Okay.
that you may run that read it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. And as you dream, you must always write down, make it plain, write it down, put it where you can see it.
Yeah.
And every day ask yourself, what am I doing to get towards that now? Thank you.
Thank you. That was bringing it from a biblical perspective. And as they call it, say dream. And he read from the Bible, Habakkuk, I think he said verse 2. There's something that we commonly say. Nothing can stop a dream or a plan when its time has come.
When its time has come. True.
Because we may dream, as the caller was rightly saying, and we expect it to be fulfilled the following day or in a week's time. But some things takes time. Takes time to grow, to be nurtured, before it can bloom and bear the fruits. That's like a dream.
Yeah.
You know what it is, but you need time to have it growing and have it prosper and so before it bears the fruits that it needs to bear.
Yeah.
So,
we have another caller on the not a caller, Lord.
yeah, another comment.
Another comment. It says, that is why I do not get when people say police not wearing mask, but they want us to. But they want us to wear. Wear your mask. Forget who's wearing about it. Wearing it is to protect yourself because your life is in your hands.
Of course.
Very well said. We have so many comments have passed us by. Someone said received a message from a friend last night whose relative had a test on Saturday. Up to last night, he did not receive any results and is due to travel this morning. This is from Canada. So that is somebody from Canada.
Who has a friend
Canada.
In Canada?
Yes.
Or well, we can't say anything much about
yeah,
those.
no, I think they were drawing reference to the
to the fact that we can get ours within 48 hours.
Yeah.
And yes,
some others.
We have heard about those issues outside of Grenada, that it could take up to 7 or 8 days before people get their test.
All right, guys, I just want to remind you that Parliament, the sitting of Parliament has been moved to next Friday. And of course, we know that Monday's a holiday. Monday's the day, well, it's not Thanksgiving Day, but it's a day that is allotted because Thanksgiving fell on a Sunday.
Yep.
Right? So be safe during that period. Remember, it's a long weekend, and y'all tend to go all out when we have long weekends and do all sorts of crazy things. Please keep in mind that we are still in an era where we need to be cautious as it relates to COVID-19. I'm not saying we move about in fear, but we move about cautiously, following the protocols, doing what we need to do to keep each other safe, because we don't know on which day, at which hour, in which area of Grenada COVID will present itself. We just want to make sure that we are safe when that happens. So, Mr. Bola, any closing remarks?
Well, of course, as per usual, I want to encourage our people to do the correct things. Even sometimes when we don't feel like doing it. Even sometimes, when we think, well, what's the sense in doing it? Because we have convictions at times, and with convictions come certain expectations. And when those expectations don't materialize very soon, we sometimes get wary of what we do, and we feel that we should drop our guards. Now, we have been pretty much safe, I can use that word, or in control of the situation as it relates to COVID. And we say kudos to the government, to the Ministry of Health, all the workers within the health sector, doctors, nurses, waterlies, ambulance drivers, whoever they are, technocrats, for doing what they did and for keeping us safe thus far. We cannot at this time let our guards down. Right? It is not a case where COVID has already disappeared. They have not yet found a cure or a vaccine. So it means that we must keep steady. We must tarry, as someone just read from the Bible. We must tarry still, because the appointed time for the cure isn't yet.
Yeah.
So people, we are where we are because certain protocols was put in place and it was being enforced. We talk about we have freedom and we have liberties and so. Let us show that we can handle freedom and liberties.
Yeah.
We don't have to wait for the police to have to stop us on the way or write a ticket before we recognize that it is important for our own safeguard, safekeeping, and that of our family, our friends, and our neighbors to wear our mask and to socially distance and not to congregate in larger crowds where we cannot physically distance than more than 20 as the protocols say. Let us do it because it is the correct thing to do and not do it because we are afraid that the police is going to charge us if we didn't do it. Yes, the charge is as a deterrent, but you don't have to be charged because we are sensible enough. We are educated enough. We are people with an understanding to know what is right from what is wrong, what is good for us and what isn't, you know? And as we oftentimes say to you, even if we didn't know before, or we knew and we were going down the wrong lane, it is never too late. Don't matter how far we have gone down the wrong lane, we can stop, we can turn around and start doing the correct thing from now onwards. So we hope to be talking to you again. Stay safe for the rest of Thursday. Be good. Right. And we'll meet again.
Guys,
Thank you
we've
very
come
much.
to the end of our program. As we say here every day, in whatever you say and whatever you do, be safe and be secure. We always want to be talking with you, but we don't ever want to be talking about you. Please do enjoy the remainder of your day and have a safe and wonderful weekend. Guys, stay tuned for the National Report. It's been a pleasure.
Foreign Affairs Minister Oliver Joseph says COVID-19 reinforces the importance of multilateralism and cooperation initiatives. We'll have details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for Wednesday, October 21st, 2020, I am Rikisha St. Louis. Foreign Affairs Minister Honorable Oliver Joseph says COVID-19 has placed emphasis on the desirability for regional and international cooperation initiatives. He was at the time addressing the 50th regular session of the General Assembly of the Organization of American States virtually. The General Assembly was held under the theme, Facing the Challenges of COVID-19 in the Hemisphere, a collaborative approach to address vulnerabilities and build resilience in times of crisis, based on the 4 pillars of the OAS. Minister Joseph told the virtual audience that the theme must encourage member states to discuss the economic, social, developmental, and political security implications of COVID-19. He said, and I quote, "We have witnessed a tremendous loss of lives and livelihoods across the hemisphere and, in fact, the world. The fallouts of this pandemic will leave the region reeling for some time to come. Even diversified economies are suffering. Mr. President, imagine small economies like Grenada, heavily dependent on tourism and international trade. Grenada experienced 5 years of economic growth, averaging 3.1%, attained through sacrifice and prudent fiscal management. However, due to the outbreak of COVID-19, GDP growth is expected to slow down to negative 8% and pick up to 6.1% in 2021. Unquote. According to Minister Joseph, the pandemic has brought to light many of the imbalances that exist to the detriment of small states. He highlighted that there is a desirability for regional and international cooperation initiatives. Mr. President, my delegation is grateful that the General Secretariat of the OAS is collaborating with regional and international bodies within the context of the Framework Strategy document From Vulnerability to Resilience. He added that it is safe to say that COVID-19 has also reinforced the importance of multilateralism. The small nations of the Caribbean are beholden to the PAHO and WHO for ensuring that there was access to testing supplies, contact tracing, and for reinforcing the various health sectors, unquote. Continuing the news, Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell and parliamentary representatives for St. Patrick East and West, Pamela Moses and Anthony Boson, told constituents of St. Patrick that more developments are underway for the parish. On Tuesday, Dr. Mitchell and his cabinet colleagues in St. Patrick held the first in a series of town hall meetings throughout the island. The meetings give the political leader and his team the opportunity to share updates with the various parishes and also give the constituents the platform to ask questions and seek clarity on matters of development. Dr. Mitchell said Grenada must be commended for its progress economically, even during the global pandemic. He said the onus is on government to strike a balance between development and protecting the populace.
We have to give ourselves as a country, all of us, a lot of credit, because we look better than a lot of countries with a lot of money. That is a fact. And that's why it is tough for our young people in particular. And we have to have a sense of understanding while we do what we have to do to protect them, to send the right message. We have to do it with an understanding and the compassion if necessary. But I'm very clear that we're on the right track. We have opened our borders. We're doing what we have to do, putting systems in place to protect our country, because we have to balance the whole economic situation that we have to do, to deal with balance that with the health concerns, right? We can't treat one with one and not the other.
Parliamentary representatives for St. Patrick West, Anthony Boson, highlighted projects and programs that have continued and still continues during COVID-19.
Under difficult circumstances, this government is doing its best. One, as I said, to maintain the income of its workers, to provide support, to maintain a number of social services. Can you imagine at a time like this, we still have programs like toilet and bathroom, government providing materials and labor to construct toilet and bathrooms for its people. A major social program which in normal under normal consideration will not be undertaken in a situation like this. You have the house repair program, which is still on. Another major social initiative of the government. We have the Workers' Brigade, the permanent Workers' Brigade, 6 per group, and they are working still.
Honorable Pamela Moses, parliamentary representative for St. Patrick East, shared an update on projects and programs within the constituency, projects that will provide hundreds of jobs for residents.
The River Sally School, which is the place we were most likely to have this meeting, it's a much longer haul, but is now under repair, almost $100,000. Government invested in River Sally School to repair, brand new flooring, concrete flooring, new roof, so much work's going on. The River Sally Preschool would be continuing soon. It's been, bid is out again. The project ceased for a while. The River Sally Community Center is 70% complete, where we would be doing a lot of training of young people. It's a huge building that has 3 large sections still. There is a community section. There'll be a section for training and production. Well, there'll be 2 sections for training and production and agro-processing.
This is the National Report. The news will continue after the break.
Protect yourself and our community from COVID-19. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. If soap and water are not available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer with at least 70% alcohol. Use a tissue when blowing your nose, sneezing, or coughing. Immediately discard the tissue properly and wash or sanitize your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Let's do our part to ensure that each and every Grenadian remains healthy. To stay up to date, visit the Government of Grenada's webpage or the Ministry of Health's Facebook page. For more information, contact the Ministry of Health's hotline by calling 53-VIRUS. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by the Ministry of Health.
Welcome back. Staff and students of the St. David's Catholic Secondary School on Wednesday joined gold medalist Anderson Peters in celebrating his 22nd birthday. Peters captured the gold medal in the men's javelin at the 2019 IAAF World Athletics Championship in Doha, making him the first Grenadian to win gold in the field events. A birthday celebration was held at the St. David's Roman Catholic Church in the presence of coaches, teachers, students, and family members. Peters told the gathering that the journey to the gold was never easy. He encouraged the students to be inspired and persevere in whatever field they want to succeed in.
Becoming the world champion has been a long journey. This journey was started since my Carriacou days. My first Carriacou was back in 2012. I've been coached by Paul Phillips since 2011, so this journey has been going on for a long time. Unfortunately, my first world championship, I didn't do so good. I finished 20th out of the 30 guys, so I was 10 before last. But on my second attempt at the world championship, I was able to become the world champion. I think that means a lot for me. I think that means a lot to me. I think it means a lot more to the guys, to the students and teachers of St. David's Catholic Secondary School, to the St. David's Trailblazers and Grenada on a whole. This is Grenada's only second gold medal in the World Championship, its first medal being Kirani James in 2011.
Secretary of the Grenada Olympic Committee, Mrs. Vida Bruno Victor, used the occasion to reminisce on the past year of Anderson's life. She said Anderson's win did not come as a surprise to her. She highlighted that his victory is a win for his parish, his schools, and the country.
It only takes a spark to get a fire going. Students, I want to speak to you first, and to say to you that those of us who have come from humble beginnings know what it takes to achieve something. Anderson did say to you that you can do it in any area that you choose. I believe that Anderson's achievement must be a strong motivation for all of you. And to say, and it will say to you, that I too can do well. I too can do something similar.
Principal of the St. David's Catholic Secondary School, Gary Jones, reiterated the institution's commitment to support Anderson's athletic future.
Anderson, with your future progress, with your future performance, and that you have the full backing and support of your old school, maybe your still current school, the St. David's Catholic Secondary.
Finally in the news, 51 fishermen in Carriacou were presented with a captain's permit and certification at a closing ceremony last Friday upon completing a one-week captain's training course implemented by the Windward Island Research and Education Foundation in partnership with the Ministry of Fisheries. The training forms part of the Fishing Vessel Captains Training Program for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, funded by the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations through the Climate Change Adaptation of the Eastern Caribbean Fisheries Sector Project. Deputy Director of Windrift, Dr. Trevor Noel, said that the project is geared towards the development of a good protocol to ensure safety at sea for fishermen.
This project is an embodiment of being thy neighbor's keeper by improving safety at sea for Grenadian fishers. In addition, the importance of trade, food security, and the linkage to climate resilience and health is foremost in our mind.
Minister for Sports, Culture and the Arts, Cooperatives and Fisheries, Honorable Yolan Bean Hosford, underscored the importance of the course. She explained that the program is expected to build the capacity of 300 fishermen with increased competence to operate and captain local sea vessels, improve safety at sea, and improve sustainability in the fishing sector.
Of the 14 scheduled courses to be conducted under this program, 10 have now been completed. 8 have been held in fishing parishes on the mainland Grenada and 2 in Carriacou. 1 will be held in Petit Martinique and 3 others on the mainland. To date, a total of 214 fishermen have been trained, with a further 86 to be trained by the 20th of November 2020. A national closing ceremony for 225 trainees from mainland Grenada has been planned for a date to be determined before the end of the year.
Minister for Carriacou and Petit Martinique Affairs and Local Government, Honorable Kindra Mathurin Stewart, commended the fishermen for seizing the opportunity to become certified. She gave the assurance that government will continue to invest in fisheries, provide training and assistance where necessary.
As a ministry and as a government, I'm extremely happy, I'm extremely proud, and I want you to know that this is a government that supports you. This is a government that is interested in your welfare and your well-being, and we will continue to invest in you. Training is an investment. We will continue to invest in you. And this would not be your only training, and I'm certain that there will be many other training in many other areas as we go forward.
That story just ended the national report for today, Wednesday, October 21st. Let's recap the top story. Foreign Affairs Minister Oliver Joseph says COVID-19 reinforces the importance of multilateralism and cooperation initiatives. On behalf of the entire news and production team here at the Government Information Service, I am Rakisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new National Party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.